Thank you, Honorable van der Walt, Honorable Kgabo. Yeah.
No, thank you very much, Modula Stulo. Ke a leboga. Earlier on ke tlhalositse gore le la ke ga o latlhe ke tswa go bokone bophirima. Jaanong nako ke tswang teng a motho a dira jaaka DDG o direla re motho o tsena ka mo o tswa ka mo. Ka mantswe a mangwe re motho o tshwara ka o tshwara ka mo a re itse gore a reng. Ke gore wa bua mara o tshwana le radio fela ga gaša e palelwa ke go tshwara station. That's what the DDG has been doing. And I think it's deliberate because from where I'm sitting, as an intellectual, the DDG would understand his response was not necessarily aligned to the question. And it was a deliberate attempt to try and confuse the committee and a deliberate attempt to circumvent accountability. But for now, you can win that process. But unfortunately, it's unsustainable of you not telling the truth, DDG. Because from where I'm sitting, I believe that you are deliberately refusing to respond to issues, in particular of the SLA and the issue of the APPs. And I'll get to that point earlier on. Auditor General, nobody in this portfolio committee or in this room, you can argue your powers and your responsibilities in terms of the accountability framework. So your recommendations, to a large extent, with the powers vested in you in terms of the constitution of this country, nobody can argue that your analysis or your recommendation are biased or subjective. You are the only person in this room who can argue that your report is beyond reproach. You are the only one. I want to check with you. In your report, maybe let me start here. Let me appreciate your proactiveness as a way of making sure that our performance or our planning is aligned to the performance outcomes that we would want to achieve. And this proactive is appreciated because of if there is willingness from the side of the department, of which from my side, it has been proven that there is no willingness. If there is generally a willingness, like you have correctly indicated, the first year, the second year, there might be challenges, but the third year, there should be improvements. And in terms of the previous audit outcomes of the department, you tell me if I'm wrong. For the past 4, if not financial years, there's not been any actual movement in terms of real issues that are impactful to our people's lives. I thought that I must compliment you. Chair, I'm raising this thing, and when we're discussing this thing of the audit outcome of Department of Higher Education and Training, we must not forget that 50% of our population is living in poverty. We must not forget that 50% of young people in this country are unemployed. That should be the basis of our understanding. However, DG, you must not forget that the National Skills Fund, of which is your structure that accounts to you, where you are a referee, a player at the same time, has unspent 3 billion in the previous financial year. Having that understanding that with that level of unemployment and with that level of poverty in South Africa, you've got an entity that is expected to provide or train young people so that they can move out of poverty, which did not spend 3 billion. And if you were to ask me, Kgabo from the rural areas, from the dusty streets of Christiana, what would 3 million do in terms of transforming the lives of people who are living in poverty? You would be surprised how would it change the lives of the people. So from where I'm sitting, Chairperson, I'm honestly convinced that people who are in these sitters are misplaced, and it boils back, DG, nothing personal, no pun intended. We are just doing our work in terms of accountability. But the reality of the matter is that we've got people in the National Skills Fund or in the Department of Higher Education and Training who are not supposed to be in higher education and training. That's why earlier on I was asking the DG, he must tell us why has he not done the honorable thing of resigning? Why must he continue doing what he's doing because of there's no changes? I would like to check with you, Auditor General. Why are you, in your report, you have said that there are some sitters that were problematic to cooperate, if I've heard you correctly. Which sitters are those in particular? Don't forget that when you appear before Parliament, to tell the truth is like standing in front of an altar. Which sitters?
Thank you so much, Honorable Kgabo. I think I was making a comment in relation to the previous year when Honorable Maseko was asking in terms of the performance. And I'm happy for us to indicate which ones would have had the findings in the previous years that would not have addressed and they currently address. I can provide that report in writing to the committee, because then you'll be able to see who had been struggling over the years and who had moved. Thank you so much.
Auditor General, maybe for the purpose not only of myself as a member of parliament, but also for our people on the ground. Why are you conducting this mid-year reviews? What is what is it that you want to achieve?
Thank you so much, Honorable Kgabo. So here is the thing, right? If you look at the strategy of the Auditor General currently, right? So the mandate of the Auditor General stayed the same. The law is clear. But the strategy of the AGSA, as we put it now, we are seeking to see a culture shift in the public sector, not forgetting that we too are the very citizens that benefit from these entities, right? So what actually pushed us to say, let's come a bit earlier is that the APP, if you miss it, yes, I can give you an audit outcome at the end of the financial year 25-26, Honorable Chair. But pretty much it's too late with regard to that implementation. So what we've seen over the years is that the moment the APP is not structured properly, everything else that comes, quarterly report that comes with it, the annual performance report that comes with it, it then falls under through that crack. So it's on that basis, Honorable Kgabo, that we decided as a AGSA that we would, for APP in particular, will be proactive so that we are able to support government directly in terms of the performance that they need to put under.
AG, yes. Don't be technical. What is it that you want to, let's say you advise the department? What is your main objective? The objective is for them to continue doing what they are doing or for them to change? You must be clear, don't be technical.
I wanted to say, Mike, very simple, right? So we don't waste our audit time when there's not going to be a change. So of course we do it so that there can be a change in the system. Thank you.
According to you, is there any changes from Department of Higher Education and Training looking into the past 5 years?
Honorable Chair, through you. So far as the APR and audit outcome are concerned, you will see that we've been complaining about the performance reporting of the department. So the audit outcome of the department had not changed so far as performance report is concerned. So there has been a stagnation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, AG. I think I've managed to get enough evidence to argue my case of having people who are irrelevant and not having relevant capacity to drive this narrative. Our understanding, Chair, it's of the strategic approach in terms of National Skills Fund and the SETAs. There must be accessibility to SETAs. The issue of success is informed by the completion of the program, but the impact deals to us addressing the issue of unemployment and poverty. And if, according to the report, National Skills Fund, that has failed to spend 3 billion last year, DG, 3 billion, DG, 3 billion not spent last year, it then says that, thank you very much, Chairperson. The report before us says that there is no alignment in terms of the report coming from the SETAs and what is presented before in terms of the actual programs that they are doing. That's why it becomes difficult to track as to whether these programs that are being implemented, do they actually address the issue of impact? And the impact, according to us, is when we see the number of young people being employed, being accommodated in the broader scheme of economic mainstream. Chairperson, with that being said, I've proven my case that the DDG is misplaced. Probably must engage the president that he must be redeployed to one. He has the skill of leading properly, but he might be misplaced. Probably belongs there on older persons. And thank you very much.